evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AO Esports Rise Up Invitational and their second season. My name is Justin Lutz, aka Subaway, so I do have a right-hand man, Mr. Graham Morrison. Let yourself be known.
Oh, heck yeah, bud. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm excited because we genuinely had an emergency happen.
Yes, and it's not only in the team name. We have got a lot to chew through before we begin tonight. So, we had a team named Clowns, unfortunately, forfeit the competition, and
Yeah, there were a bunch of clowns that decided to leave. That's crazy. What kind of
maybe
what
they
kind
got
of clown
ticket
would
maybe
leave?
they got tickets to clown college. Who knows?
Oh,
But we do have a new set of combatants to replace them, and that will be on display tonight. That is a team by the name of New Era, and they'll be playing through their maps off stream as well to get themselves caught up in terms of maps and everything like that. And they'll be playing against the aforementioned Emergency, and we'll wait and see how that goes. And
yeah. It's a whole new era of Rise Up where we have a new era of team, and I'm actually really intrigued by that because yeah, they got a little bit of work to come back in, but at the same time they're rattling off a bunch of matches with a lot less film to work with. It's not a team that we've obviously streamed. That's a big advantage for them is they get to see some of these teams already. If I'm not mistaken, Emergency was one of the casted teams last week. I think.
I believe so.
I remember spamming a certain can emoji of quenching thirst to help exerst. So that seems right. I think that was just a week ago.
Yes, it was. It was in the last week.
So there's a little bit of an advantage for New Era, in my opinion. The fact that they managed to slide in here. They're not a team that anyone's had the opportunity to watch, and at the same time, Emergency is a team they've been watched. They've got a little bit of a book behind them now. There's some game footage. There's some tape. They're able to watch it and maybe get some info and give them a slight advantage.
Yes, and information and leads to knowledge, and that knowledge will lead to power. But all that power is all well and good, but you do not have much ado with that if you don't have a place to put it. And the places we have are the maps in our pool, and we'll run you through those. There will be 4 maps at the minimum. We'll be running through each of the disciplines. We'll have Control, which would either be Busan, Nepal, and Oasis. Oasis will be our starting point, and the loser gets to choose the next. So in Assault, we have Hanamura, Horizon Lunar Colony, and the new map Paris. I really hope we get to see the new locale. And for the next discipline of Escort, we have Junkatown, Rialto, and Watchpoint Gibraltar. And for Hybrid, we have Blizzard World, Eichenwald, and King's Row. And if we require it, if we end up in a tie, by the time we're done with those 4 maps, we go to a tiebreaker, which will be the sunny place of Ilios. And I could do some work on my tan. But I'm a little bit curious with this new entity, which has entered the fray being New Era. And let's see how they change the landscape, because a lot has changed over the last little while for the Rise Up Invitational. And I'm curious as to how it'll all take shape.
Yeah, and we get to jump right into Oasis. It's a beautiful map. I do love it. And I think that's gonna be a great place to give it a shot. It'll be fun. There is an off-stream game happening. I'm just waiting to hear who it is. Like they're not giving me. I'm asking people, and they're not giving me the answers I'm looking for. But there will be no 8:30 p.m. games tonight. It's just one set of games.
Yes, it is, and I'll have to review the fixtures. I believe it'll be Kraken, Black, and Devious, I believe, which will be off stream this evening. All right.
That sounds about right. I do see some of my Devious friends in game right now, so that would be about right. But now we are here to the beautiful Oasis, where we will have our first match up of the evening. And did someone crash already? No, okay, we're good. My HUD was glitching out and it was not showing me half a team. So I was like really worried. I'm like, oh god, no one showed up here. That's tragic.
Yeah, it's done that for me. There's a few life bars that have gone missing, but Now, with this, we will give you the lineups on the red side. Will be Emergency Esports, being Virginia, Kramer, Exerst, Special Kid, Mooney, and Mini. That's not going to be confusing at all. And if you would kindly run us down our right-hand side, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, over on the right-hand side, we got Slip. How do I pronounce that? Help? Slip Jip?
Slip Jip. Think Slim Jip.
All right, Slip Jip. All right. Dawn, Razul, Penny, Lush, and Soggy. Don't you love it when the very first name that I have to try and say is one that's hard to pronounce? It's like you intentionally picked the other team, Cyberways. It's almost like you intentionally threw me under the bus.
I gotta keep you on your toes, man. That's how you get better. Either way, speaking of getting better, it'll be a strive for improvement. The games are down, and we are underway for a brand new week of the Rise Up Invitational. It looks like Virginia on the Wrecking Ball, who's been quite proven on that hero as well, has already made a beeline.
Yeah, he came in like a wrecking ball, saw and conquered, but he didn't conquer very much as Razul takes him down. Exersto chiming right back in, finds the Farah pick onto Soggy. There is a Sombra out here, getting some nice hacks off. A pair of reses, Soggy and Virginia back on the field, but Special Kid, while getting Virginia falls, down goes K-More, and this looks like it should be New Era hang on to us, or maybe not. Now we have a couple of kills coming right back through Exerst and Virginia. They found a D-Mech and a pick. Will they find anything else? No, they will ultimately fall, and New Era have the opening cap.
Exerst on the Ash was just being an absolute nuisance, just trying to play the clock. Did a decent job of that, but now the first percentage will be going to the side of New Era. And we now see the Diva entering the fray, being Mini. And she'll be just aiming to do basically what a Diva does, is cause a ruckus, cause a damage, and basically trump up many an ultimate. She's already been hacked, so just having a really rough time. The Sombras are proving to be the MVPs, and there is the Valkyrie coming out from Dawn to keep everybody topped up. Slim Jim is actually still in the mech too, it should be noted. And it looks like the New Era squad are just running right over Emergency Esports, and the blue side's gonna have to call an ambulance.
Yeah, they're having a rough time coming through New Era. New team, new era, and they were seeming to make it a glorious era. They're already up to 50%. Not even much of a touch in the way from Emergency Esports, so this is a great start.
A very strong start, but keep it on Mooney on the Sombra, actually cloaked at the moment, and waiting for the entire squad to be bunched up. That is the counterpart's EMP. Did claim 2. There is the Rock Barrage from Kramer, does not claim much. Exerst does put a bullet into Penny, causing them to go sticked. And Emergency suddenly back on the tip, thanks to Exerst and his Peacekeeper. There's Soggy unsheathing the Dragon Blade to cut straight through the perceived tin cans of the opposition. And now Emergency slowly being successful in tipping things over, but it took them a lot of work to get there, and the forward momentum of the New Era squad will stop at 93.
Now the challenge is you can't really let them get close, because 93%, one little flip and you might not even be able to make it up to that point. You need to focus on winning these fights, finding some opening picks. And they do have the Sombra in behind trying to cause some problems. That's Mooney. He's got a nice amount of scouting through. There's a big hack onto the Diva. Actually, I don't think he quite got it. Managed to get denied just in the nick of time. Deadeye is out on the field looking for anything, trying to walk in. Xerxes doesn't find anything with it. Just a tumbleweed rolls through. The pressure is still there, but the damage is starting to fall in. Emergency Esports are in a little bit of trouble right now. Xerxes very low, might fall, and in fact he does. Penny's got that kill. Down goes Razul. And this looks like it'll be a fight win very quickly off the back of that Cyberwaste. They need to find anything to hold it off, but Soggy, he's still doing so much work. I don't think there's anything they can do. They're trying to delay, but I think in fact this might flip, or all of a sudden Minnie's doing work.
Minnie's trying to keep the tide in his favor, but the comrades are slowly falling down. Minnie has been ejected from her back. A big EMP from Mooney, though, will keep the opposition at bay. Dawn's being ground down by the SMG of Sombra. Virginia is sadly no longer a part of the fight for now, but Emergency, through basically sheer grit, determination, and a little bit of electronic assistance from Moody will end up hanging on. And basically, we've got a whole new ballgame, Mr. Morrison.
A whole new game. A new fantastic time to frag. And we'll see who can show us the world and take the world. Who will pull this out, Cyberwaste? Oh, Rise Duel falling to Exert is a massive pick, though, to start things off.
Losing the Zenyatta early on is not a good look. Virginia will feel for Slush to go down the backhand. Special Kid has been cut in half by the Dragon Blade. It is looking all in the favor of New Era thus far. Exert is trying to stem things. Did get rid of the Genji, but with so much more beef on the field, but they're not able to get there. And Emergency have battled back and basically called the ambulance and ran roughshod over the opposition, and they take the first point of Oasis. There's a lot to take in there.
There is a ton to take in, but the fact is, at the end of the day, despite an amazing start from New Era, it was a glorious start, a tremendous New Era rolled through. But the thing with eras, they don't last. They eventually are replaced in the Emergency Esports era, took over as they pulled out the first segment. What else is there for them? That's the million-dollar question. What can they do? How does New Era respond? We need to see them take another segment here. Otherwise, that will be map 1 going the way of Emergency Esports.
Indeed, and an uncontested, undisputed run by Emergency there, and a lot of going on the high ground. Virginia ball extremely low as the Winston actually eventually gets pipped. There was a trade there from Kramer onto Don, so that is a 1-for-1, but you call it 1-for-1.5 because of the health pool, and that frag was effectively erased by Special Kid at the Resurrection. So that was a big value resurrection there, and the feed is a beautiful shade of blue, and now is only Soggy trying to get enough time there, and basically being a one Tracer Wrecking Crew trying to bleed all space and time, but that will be the end of that. And Emergency are back on winning terms.
And it's an interesting little change-up we've had here. New Era came out swinging. It looked like it might almost be an undisputed era rolling through. But really, this has been a big response from Emergency Esports. And you can tell it's a little bit of a shock to the system of New Era. They don't really have a response. Lush goes in. Sure, he tried to get a hack up, and he's down. New Era, they're really floundering right now.
A little bit like a flag in the wind, or a big throw pillar. There is the pulse bomb. Did not claim much. And Virginia is extremely angry at the opposition encroaching on his team's property and is letting everybody know Slim Jim as the pilot is gone and back to the pine. Actually, Mooney's in an interesting position. Doesn't have the EMP at the ready. So, let's see where that ends up going down. And there's not really all that much for New Era to use either. Slim Jim could get the self-destruct there, but a big EMP. I was alluding to it, and it ended up bearing fruit. There is 2, but might not be enough. Never mind, there is the big red beacon from Emergency. It's running everybody down. So the wall remains up for Emergency Esports in terms of defense, and they're running out of time on the side of New Era.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they need to do to try and break the wall down. They are just in an absolute struggle at this point. They're pressuring forward. Penny is very deep. And now a hack's coming in behind on this. They've gotten a lot of people. No, damn, Slippy. Slip Chip. I'm hard at words. It finds 3 with the bomb. It's an alias that will perpetually mess with me, but it doesn't matter. New Era, ring the bell. They got the team kill. They've taken control of the point. And, to be honest, it wasn't quite the dominant start that New Era had last map. Look at it. It was 93% for New Era, up to 89-0 here for Emergency Esports, and now we have a flip. Will they be able to hold it, though, and make this a 1-1 game?
Perhaps. There is the pulse bomb. Thrown out to not very much, but did get exhaust, so may have done a part there in weakening up the opposition. Big nano boost onto the Winston on the side of New Era, really making everybody ride the lightning. And well, Emergency, they're going to have to really cut their losses and back away. Wait for the reinforcements to come. And looking at the ultimates that are on deck, it might be worthwhile to just recalibrate and regroup, especially with Virginia almost at the primal.
Let's see what can they do. Is there a window for them? They're putting pressure up onto Penny up top. Done well, cutting down to half, and now they refocus, re-aggress, and try and find any of these kills that they can. They're pressing around, a hack comes out, does find a few, and down go Raziel and Dawn. That's a pair of healers. With Lush falling too, this is surely a retake from Emergency Esports. Everyone else is starting to die. Penny, valiant effort, not gonna be enough. And that slip jip falls at the end of the day. We have the recap through. 90% and climbing to 81%. There is a window for them to get back through, but Soggy falling makes it very difficult.
It's essentially a very small window. It might have been slammed on their fingers. There is one on the point to get it into overtime. The EMP was surrendered. And it did actually claim one, so that is a big enough deal. Emergency is still holding extremely strong despite one being on the point. That being Penny, and a big health ball, a big angry ape, is sadly no longer with us. There is still Soggy on the point, but not anymore. It's forward in the T. And that is Emergency sounding the siren. And they claim Oasis for themselves.
Definitely a big start to the squad that rang the emergency bell. They're up to take both segments, 2-0 them. That's the first map in the book. Advantage here, though, is New Era. They get to pick what's next. They have an idea. They get to figure out how they want to do it. Where do you think they'll go? Do you have a prediction? Or more to the point, is there anywhere you want to go?
Ooh, that's two separate questions. Where I want to go, I said it in the introduction, I would like to go to Paris. But
I hear it's a lovely city.
It is a beautiful place. But for basically familiarity's sake, and given how much we have seen it in the many a tournament that we have cast with the map of the pool, I got a feeling we'll be traveling to Hanamura.
Oh, yeah. That feels right. I kind of hope not, to be honest with you. I do like the idea of a change-up. I'd be down for a little Horizon as well. And we have seen that come out occasionally. In fact, I think Emergency wound up playing that last week. New Era might like to choose it because, like I said, there's tape on them. There's a little game tape on Emergency. Get to see what they did, how they hold, what they picked, how they played about it. And they may have come up with a counter strat for that.
Perhaps it might end up being displayed should we end up going there, but a lot of deliberation in amongst the New Era ranks as to where we go next.
That, or they're like such a new era that they don't actually know which their elected leader is, so like they're just having this like who wants to pick it? I don't know. Do you want to pick it? I don't know. Do you want to pick it? I don't know. Do you want to pick it?
Oh no, there'd be the indecisive people at the drive-through.
Oui, Mr. Lutz, we're going to Paris.
Oh my! And wow, new era, new surroundings, and a new map of the pool, and I am a happy lad.
Ready your baguettes. We're going to Paris.
Oh, let's see how the French scene's doing. I don't think in another game that we cast, I don't think there's much of it left. Hopefully this is a
Hey man, Saiwu is the future.
Fair. That's totally fair.
And in another game we love, we got the Rooster, Antoine Roussel.
Roos. Oh man.
It's the fun part, so just a little backstory on this while we're waiting for them to ready up. I'm a Canucks fan. He's a Dallas Stars fan. There was a French player that played for Dallas. He was a fan favorite.
But
he's now playing for Vancouver, and I like to make a point to rub it in his face every single time.
I mean, to be fair, he was originally drafted by the Canucks. So I guess it came full circle.
Wasn't drafted. He played his rookie camp with us.
Oh. I thought he was drafted too, but still.
He might have been. I thought we drafted his brother, but not him.
Wouldn't it be funny if you drafted someone and then it turns out someone like is someone else completely? You drafted the wrong person out of a pair of twins.
That has to have happened at some point, right?
I'm
Like
almost certain in many a sport that's probably happened at least once. The ones with the draft lottery.
that's actually pretty funny though. Like imagine that your whole job is making that out, and you end up drafting the wrong guy. Oops, oops.
My bad. And
It be
Lush.
it,
Oh well, we'll have a lot more talking to do because sadly Lush has left the server.
It'd be like in like Counter Strike trying to sign a Dren and realize that rather than like signing the Kazakhstan one, you signed the North American one.
Mm.
I'm blanking. Like I feel like there's got to be somewhere at some level in Overwatch with that issue.
We almost have that in Minnie and Mooney tonight.
Oh yeah, very similar names.
Yeah.
But like some of them in esports, like you get a little bit more variation. Like guy like Exerst, there's probably not that many people named Exerst, but Dawn, there could be like 40 Dawns. You end up signing the wrong Dawn, and you're like, oh well, we got a problem.
Think the most common handles that you'll ever think of in esports. Like anything. I'm gonna feel anything with ghost, anything with criminal. What would be a common handle to you? Not only in like first person shooter, but in esports in general.
Fire related stuff like Blaze or Scorch.
Oh god, there've been plenty of blazes. Come to think of it.
Yeah, like I can think of at least one in Team Fortress 2, although I think there's a couple that came in lower levels. One of them's one of the greatest TFT players in history, so he gets a shout out. Yeah, I don't know, but like there's enough that I roll through, and I'll sometimes see people, and I'll be like, "Hey, are you this person from this game?" And it's like, "No, I'm this person from this game." I'm like, "Oh, my bad. I don't know who you are."
No, they said the same handle, but it's a different game, and you get that a lot. Either way,
Alpha. How many alphas are there?
that's a fair call. I'm actually really into the storm resilience. If you look into the attacker spawn, the singer in the nightclub is just getting the flat cannon from Slim Jim's mech and is just not phased. Still gonna hit the high notes. Either way, club's closed. Everyone is going to evacuate. That'll be the members of New Era, and we are in the streets of Paris very early on. And oh, Lush just got blown up to Kingdom Come thanks to K-More.
Nothing like a little trap and a little explosion to go with it. There's an explosive falling there. Nice opening pick. Credit where it's due, Kymore. Now that is gonna stunt things a little bit, slow it down as have to re-aggress and find a new route through.
It'll be up to Soggy predominantly to try and snap this. Looking at it, it'll just basically be trying to split the people up and then pick them apart using the concussive blast and the rest of it. A lot of damage being laid down, but no frags as of yet. Close to ejecting Minnie, but she will survive with the supports in tow. And K-More is just really blowing things up, getting rid of Penny, but Soggy, it took a lot of work, but Exerst has been ejected from the fray, and then Penny is now back in the fight. So an elongated set of affairs going down between both of the squads in amongst things, and K-More's finally hit the deck, and Soggy has ejected Minnie from her mech. That is the pilot done. So this is New Era, basically breaking the entire door off of its hinges. So this could be a first point cap. It was a bit grindy, but they got there in the end.
Ooh, Xerxes, that was a dirty approach and does just enough to delay, not able to find any picks. But that was a cheeky little play there. I was impressed by the movement and the damage done. But with all these ultis coming in for the offense, and there's like nothing for the defense, this could really backfire real fast. This could be a complete snowball.
This could get ugly, especially when you see there's 5 out of the 6. The only person without an ultimate to hand is Razul on the Zenyatta, and she'll get it in short order. with the orbs being flung about. And sure, one did get put to bed, but the big EMP does go out, does claim 2, and a big barrage from Soggy did only get Special Kid, but you call that a big enough target because that is a big bit of healing taken out of the fray. Mini has been hacked, ejected from a mech once more, and just not having a good time with it. And now it's only going to be basically emergency being put in the clock just to try and basically bleed everything out. Exertus being a good line of defense thus far. Did summon Bob to do his thing, but did not do all that much. And New Era is looking to cap extremely quickly, but Emergency having a really stiff say about it.
Yeah, they've staggered really hard. The bomb will catch Mini, but Virginia still here on the Wrecking Ball is causing quite a nuisance. And look at this, there's been a little bit of a fallback, a little bit of a regroup. Just trying to farm these ultis back up, and then they'll re-aggress. They're so close to a tick, but somehow this is a whole cyber waste. How the hell did they hang on to that?
Well, it's been sort of the name of the game for the last map, and a tiny bit that we have seen has been just pure grit and just wearing down whatever's thrown at them, and they've been extremely successful thus far. But a big EMP did lay out 4, and it is looking to be Emergency slowly being pushed away, and finally it'll look like New Era will get at least a tick, but Exertus ducking and diving and dodging as the Sombra is on to do. Whoa. It's looking like finally the ticket is punched in for New Era. Big self-destruct from Mini only got done, and the mech was not able to be called down. And that third, it took a lot of work, but they finally got it on the attacking side.
But these delays have been so on point. This time they're condensing a lot more heavily on the players walking in. They're able to find these kills a lot faster. There's the nano boosted Exertus on the Sombra. He's not able to find anything else. They're pushing away. Everyone should fall in there, even with the bomb kill. Exertus is still here. Delays for days. They're bleeding time. They realize this is a lost cause. They realize they're probably losing the round, but they are delaying. They're burning that time off the clock, and this is so pivotal. But finally it'll burned off. It could have been like 5 minutes left on the clock. I think it's down to like 3:10-ish.
We'll get the final tally on the screen shortly. 3 minutes 15, and if memory serves, they came in at about 5 minutes 35 on the clock, if not more.
Something like that.
So
I might have been a bit lower, but it was around there.
That was a decent amount of lost, basically time chipped off by Emergency, and a big help now would be to basically try to match that time, or even just have a more successful snowball without having to regress.
Sorry about that. I just messaged something pivotal. Now I'm just gonna quickly ping that lobby to see if we have an update on the other game that's going on. So give me some time to see if I can find that, Mr. Lutz.
Yes, we have to go around the horn. Well, there isn't really much. There wouldn't really be all that much going on tonight, because sadly we do only have one game, and the other stream game that we were meant to have tonight, which is one of the more black fixtures, we're not able to field a starting 6, so they've sadly had to forfeit this week.
Fortunately, I do have friends on Devious, so worst case scenarios, I can message one of them and be like, hey, can you guys update me after every map?
Well, at least you got friends in important places, at least right now. It's looking like Kraken are leading to nothing, and Hanamura is tied at 2.
Enemy turret here.
And they've chosen a different locale, and already Virginia has started to move on to the point, but whoa, stunned in mid-air was Virginia. And wow, this is basically just a bonker turret comp, and Emergency are gonna have to try their damnedest to try and break this, and it looks like it's gonna hold strong with a little bit of Swedish intuition with Soggy being on the Torbjorn. And watch if that Molten Core gets charged. Actually, he's all the way back at spawn at the moment. We'll wait for the molten core to be charged. It could actually be a huge help to the defense should it end up being used.
It could absolutely murder many a man, woman, and the children too. It is a potent
you
thing.
technically call. Actually, no, there are no children in the lineup. Unless you call Hammond a child. I'm talking about the characters. At any rate, the Deadeye did come out from Blush. Didn't really claim much, but Mini ended up falling to the Peacekeeper, so that is a small victory. And yet again, Emergency just not being able to figure out this opening point, which to be fair, given the tight corridors and the very futile amount of open points, it's extremely difficult, sure, but once you solve it, it's going to be extremely tough for the defense to stay standing.
Yeah, they really they don't have an answer for this, Mr. Lutz. They're struggling so heavily. Now they are trying to engage back in. Virginia with the big jump, but now ultis are coming out here. Diva Bomb on the field, it catches nothing. I thought it was going to catch a lot more, but instead, Kamor over the top finds Soggy, will be traded out. It's a 1-for-1 swap. Does favor the defense a little bit. Lush now with another kill onto Exerce. There's the res on the Kamor. Brings things back even. But they need to find some kills and they need to find something quick. The Bongo will be taken out. Down goes the Torb gun as well from Virginia. But that's all they find. His life is gone in the end. And the defense still finding some kills. Kamor chimes in onto the Zen. That's a nice opener. But I think that's still all that the offense is going to be able to find here.
It's really such a shame too, because there was a big EMP from Mooney. I think it claimed like 4 or 5, but did not really amount to much. I think only 1 went down as the result of it. It's really unfortunate. And there is the molten core coming out from Soggy. We'll see how much it'll even tick down, but it's looking like the defense is finally cracked thanks to the proper range of Virginia, the assistance of Kramer, and the SMG of Mooney. And finally, it took him into the final minute with about 35 seconds left, give or take. The first point will finally be surrendered, and now 4 minutes 30. Basically, if Emergency wants to match the time, they have to take this point with 0 resistance from the side of New Era.
What are they able to find? What can they do? How would you enter here if you were over on the Emergency side? Where would you try and go?
Usually, what's the old adage? Strong side, left side. Especially because there's a much tighter corridor as opposed to the more open ballroom that you see on the right hand side. It's not much more open, but it is more open. So I'd definitely be favoring the left side, but what would I know from the attackers? There is the Valkyrie actually coming out from Don, doing a good enough job to even stay out of sight and keep everybody topped up and make things a lot more difficult for Emergency to shoot through. And Kaimor threw out the barrage and ended up only costing 1 frag, and that was sadly himself. Special Kid just saying the best thing to do when you got to save lives in the field is to take one, and ends up taking out Soggy.
He took 2 out. He was farming on Mercy. That was actually pretty sick.
That was extremely sick.
2K is Mercy? When do you see that?
I'd be bragging about it, honestly.
It's like that Razorfish like triple boop where he booped 3 people off the ledge on Rialto a couple weeks ago. Like, when did you see that? Just like knocking 3 people around, killing 2 people with Mercy.
Lush. Keep it
Our
on
support.
Lush.
They beat Legends.
With behind the entire squad, and that will set up the bomb for Slim Jim being on 2, and that is the entire push squandered because Lush was actually out in the street towards the attackers' spawn. Just watch them all go by. If you look near the truck in the main street, that's exactly where Lush was cloaked. Didn't even move a muscle, and it paid off big for them. And that's gonna make things a lot more difficult for Emergency to even try and solve. Now that they know that that threat of Lush is very much present and very, very real.
they are quite a bit more hesitant. They're looking around, and Lush is in behind this time, causing problems. And just orbs right out. Just somber things. Up to 50% on that EMP, and we saw how potent it was just moments ago. Now they are starting to regress right through Emergency Esports, trying to find a way onto this point. They have 2 minutes left on the clock. Can they find anything? They broke the shield down. They're starting to inch their way in. Bomb comes out. Hacks out as well. Bomb does nothing. Does move them away though, so not quite nothing. But still less than ideal. Soggy comes back with the barrage. That gets nothing, and they found a pair of kills. Both Soggy and Dawn down. Heavy Chen back in, as has Slip Chip. They need to find more kills. This offense, they need to find something. They're starting to dwindle. They're starting to fall. They're starting to be completely stifled. And I think at the end of this, the offense is going to fall. The Doom Fist on the field on Soggy has a few more kills, and that is all she wrote on that push.
Oh, it was a little bit of progress, but none on the score sheet, unfortunately. Though they actually moved the fight to the point proper, which is a little bit of a pro for them. But the problem is they're down to under a minute, and now that Doomfist is off the table, the Farah is well and truly back. And well, when you've had as much success as you have thus far, I don't think you could really blame them. And Emergency have gone back to what works, the old Ghost composition, but the Ghosts have been electronically disabled for the time being, with 4 getting the EMP treatment, and that's 3 members down for Emergency. And if one of them goes down late, this is going to be extremely brutal, and Minnie is going off into the canals. She's going to have to respawn with the rest of the squad, and we are down to 20 seconds at Emergency. They are living up to their namesake and the fact this is an emergency. We've got to go now.
And they are singing a little bit of Freddie Mercury in their ear. Don't stop me now. They're trying to fly through. They're having a good time. Having a good time. They got on this point in just the nick of time. And now they're crunching around. They need to find kills, but the barrage, it's going to come in. It's going to be so strong. Virginia down. Kymor down. Exodus down. Oh my. And this will be the second map going to New Era momentarily. Surely. There's no way.
We are deadlocked at 1, Mr. Morrison, and just a real unfortunate series of events. Mooney just got the Transcendence up, but sadly it was after 2 of the teammates went down, and basically all it was delaying the inevitable at that point. You can see now why New Era had elected to go with the map of Paris. They look extremely strong.
Liberty, égalité, fraternité. It is a new era ushered in France. Paris falls the way of New Era. Vive la Renaissance.
Yeah, indeed. A really strong show, because I haven't actually seen a lot of Paris personally in competitive play.
This is the first time I've seen Paris.
Yeah, and
it popped my Paris cherry.
Yes, I think it did it for the both of us. And wasting no time, Cam was put in the next pick for Escort after the tied series. Emergency did get the power of choice, and we are going to Junkertown. A little bit of home ground advantage for both of these squads, and for me as a caster. Sorry, but when are we going to get a Canadian map? Seriously, because apparently Farah's Canadian.
Wait, really? I missed that. That's awesome.
I believe so, according to...
I thought she was Egyptian.
Comic. No, she was... I believe it was either born in Egypt and raised in Canada or something like that.
That makes sense. We do accept many people from basically everywhere in the world. So it makes sense, like emigrate to Canada.
I'd like to come to Canada.
But I'd be so down for a Canada map. I think I've talked about it before. Like doing one in like the Rockies would be Rocky Mountains would be a great kind of art style that isn't really captured.
Payload map would be wonderful for that.
Yeah, or like Banff
like
or something.
Maybe an inverse of Eichenwald, as opposed to going uphill. You go say down the hillside.
The only downside with downhill is it makes too much sense for the cart to just do it itself.
Yeah,
but speaking of carts,
but brake mechanisms and all that. But speaking of carts, go ahead.
We had a few different maps that it could have been. We could have seen Rialto. We could have seen Junkertown, and I am totally blanking on what our third map could have been.
It would have been Watch Point Gibraltar.
Gibraltar, that's the one. Thank you. That's what we could have been. Well, we are on one of them. We're on Junkertown's where we're going next. That was the pick of emergency. New Era get to choose whether they attack or defend, but we all have a little bit of a transition. Slipchip is sliding out. Nanda is going to be coming in. So I can stop butchering the pronunciation of one of those players. Because Nanda is really easy to say. Unless I accidentally call him Manda. Which, you know.
I hope that's not the case. And it looks like we've...
I'm on a women's Counter-Strike kick, and she just retired. I think it was Manda that retired today. Like a couple days ago. Yeah.
Perhaps I'll have to actually retrace my steps for that particular community, because not a lot. I don't really keep up with a lot aside from one of the local women's leagues. But if she decide to hang it up, I wish her all the best in her future prospects and pursuits.
Her future endeavors? Your future endeavoring her?
I was not gonna do that. No, leave that to Vinnie Mac. I think they've actually taken that off of the releases from WWE because
they had, and it's sad because it was a great meme.
It was a solid meme. But yeah, either way,
I guess I'll announce it before we go quickly because I have time and I can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Graham Morrison, aka Grahamcast, and why I've been so focused on women's Counter-Strike is I'm actually in 8 days flying to Europe. I will be casting women's Counter-Strike at Copenhagen Games, so I'm pumped.
Initiating match.
I'm seriously super jealous.
Hey man, you can fly to Copenhagen. I could hook you up. Just fly to Copenhagen.
But distance and monies.
That is true. I am going to be bankrupt after that. So if you ever need me to do anything, like I will say things for money. That's my shameless plug.
We'll vocal for food.
We'll pimp my voice out. If there's anything you need me to say, I will pimp my voice out for money so I can afford to eat. But I'll also plug you. It's only fair I plug myself, which was Grahamcast, GrahamCasts. I'm joined, of course, by the absolutely phenomenal Justin Lutz, aka @IamCyberWaste on Twitter. Give him a follow. Shout out to Zero Aim, our producer, as well, which is @ZeroAim.
With the O being a 0, I believe.
Yes. On the other side, while we have time, I'm going to quickly mention. So Kraken Devious is the other game. Kraken won Oasis 2-1. Hannah was at one point tied 2-2, with Kraken having a time-based lead. They took the series 4-3. So it is now 2-0 in the series to them, and they're on a next map.
Fantastic. And now the gates are down on this new map of Junkertown. Keep an eye on the Widow duel between Lush and Exerst, and well, that's one way to bring it in. Exerst will push one right between the eyes of Lush. That is a big heavy hitter off of the table for the defense, and you can already see them on the retreat. And, well, they're going to be down at Orisa as well.
Ooh, but Lush took the res, hits the shot on Exerst, not before Soggy fell, so we're in a bit of a trade back and forth. Exerst gets res this time.
Back and forth with the res, and this cart's actually gone uninterrupted. They've set up the pirate ship. You see the Orisa ship, the Orisa shield, excuse me, at the sail, and Lush is laying lead down range. Did claim one, but Mini has traded that one out. And basically, it's New Era trying to basically to stop them in their tracks before Emergency end up getting to the first point into the main town. And as Exerst did go down to Soggy's traces, that resurrection has been used. The special kid paid dearly for it.
Let's get it moving.
Exerst is still out here though, and might be able to catch a player coming right back through. Just pop the wall hacks out. Surely we'll find something. They know where Exerst is the only advantage. We'll hit this shot, and it's gonna be Lush to find the opener. Bang bang by Exerst.
stuck to Claymore. Soggy's Tracer has been a thorn in the side of the rest of his attack. It looks like that's what's going to continue, and if you're on the attacking side of Emergency, you'd be in all sorts of mistakes, because look at where the card is. It's way out in the open, and well, any bomb site or any objective which is basically out in an open field, it's going to be extremely difficult for attackers to get to. It's going to be extremely easy for defenders to basically lock it all down.
They are moving straight forward. Virginia putting a lot of pressure in, but it's exerts to fall to Soggy. Diva Bomb in up above, and it's gonna catch out Rizul, but it doesn't really matter when there is a lot of dead red players in the kill feed. They get a res off though. Virginia's found the kill on to Penny, and now they're starting to find a few more picks the other way. We're down to a 2-on-3 on this point. It's Lucio and Orisa versus Mercy, but now the spawns have started to come forth, and I think that's going to allow them to find some kills. Soggy is deep in the back line on Tracer, and that may be the decider in this.
And maybe Kaiser's the last to go down. And finally, despite Soggy actually losing the last duel to Kaiwa, being an absolute pest up in the back lines, Emergency finally enter this where the Queen will orate her words as the Queen of Junkertown, and Emergency will roll forward with roughly 3 minutes and 15, and keep an eye on the ultimates on the side of the New Era. We do have the Empress site that's just been used. We do have the Transcenders as well from Rizul to keep everybody topped up should an AoE ultimate go down, especially with Kaimor actually has the pulse bomb at the ready. Is it elected to not go off of the Tracer, and with that sound barrier, that'll be the key for Emergency to go forward. And despite that pulse bomb sticking, there was a reinforce with the Orisa, but it sacrificed Nana on the Hanzo. And Emergency, they've started that oh so favored word of momentum. They've started to apply it to them, and it's actually ringing true right now.
Yeah, it's you might need to sound the emergency bells if you're New Era. They're just getting, they just got stomped on that second point. That happens again here at the end. That's dire. They do have the opening pick on the Kaimor. That's a big one for them. Finally a response. It will be a res that comes out. They're going to use it there. Makes sense because they are so rolling
seeing a
forward.
slow change from New Era as well. You notice that team comp has almost completely gone to, actually it has gone to the Sovereign Goats composition. There is the Bogo going down from Virginia. Did not last long. Penny had silenced the aforementioned music. The Pale is actually slowly moving forward despite the members being active and near the point. Cremor threw out the pulse bomb, but only got more of the actual Tracer as opposed to any opposition. But Moody's doing a lot of the cleanup. Did claim one with the right click of the Lucio, tells him to do a tiny bit of damage. And despite just a even keel, you give it slightly to Emergency, but Emergency needs to get a pick here, probably on one of the tanks.
Well, here's the thing. Exerts is up above, causing so much of a nuisance. Now with the wall hacks, they know where everybody is. They know what's coming. They're able to move forward. Exerts sets another shot onto Rizul. He's been such a pain on this defense. Finally, they do pick him off, but at what expense? Soggy will go down for that venture, and that leaves another man advantage of the way of Emergency Esports. Camera though falling might finally be it. Minnie's in a lot of trouble, but they're forcing ults out here as well.
And Donut actually put out the sound barrier, which just saved Penny. Penny was almost gonna bleed out, but that topped him up and gave him a little bit of a sound barrier, and that is all good for New Era. And looking at things now, they could definitely get stuck in. They have the Earth Shatter, EMP, Graviton Surge, and on the attacking side, we've had a couple of changes. Mooney's now on the Moira, Exertus has gone to the McCree, Kaimo's actually gone to the Farah. Bit of a curious choice. We'll have to see how all this pans out. That is the big EMP. We'll claim a quadrant of combatants, and two of them will fall to Soggy and the Particle Cannon. And despite Virginia getting the one reply, this might be all that the emergency squad is able to muster. New Era are definitely stuck in for the long haul.
Emergency are trying to bait some of these ultis out. They're trying to bait Penny into the Shatter. They're trying to bait out the Graviton, and they just haven't been able to do so. They don't want to expend ults here, but instead that's exactly what they're going to do. They find Dawn, which is a big opener. But the Graviton is out. It's found the kill onto Virginia. Is still the big Shatter that can come down at any moment. I think that's what Penny's waiting for. There it is! Hammer is down, and it will catch Exerst out, but they managed to save him. Beautifully done by Emergency Esports, keeping their player alive, and now they're finding kills. This gives them a window to move forward. They're inching their way in. They're finding these pick cyberways. This might actually be enough to get a long way there. And I will just note, quickly, if I may, the other game, Devious is pushed almost to the second checkpoint on Rialto. Kraken are about to attack.
Oh, well. We'll keep an eye on that when we get to the change of sides. Emergency is really wanting to keep this going. Exerst is trying to tell the time, and everybody on the opposition is run for the hills. Nobody is revealing themselves, but it's good enough. And the Nanda on the Brigida is actually caught extremely far away in the little cutout. They will go 1 for 1. The McCrees will claim 1 each. 1 tank and 1 support on the opposing side. Exerst is decided to tell the time himself, did not really claim all that much. An Emergency are keeping this going, and despite Razul and Lush and their efforts, is looking to be Emergency finally getting the point capped proper, although it was looking extremely ropey for most of the map, and Exerst with the stun to lock out the Lucio on his way in. So a full set of 3 for the red side.
Also, shout out to Exerst for getting a flashbang kill at the in there. It's not quite as rare as the Counter-Strike variation, but still, you do like to point it out. Is his flashes was so good that, or I mean, depending how you look at it, maybe his body is just so hideous that by flashing he murdered someone. I don't know. Can you be so repulsive that the image of your body just causes someone to die? That's kind of depressing to think about.
Who do you think I am? Dracula? Come on. No.
I guess Medusa.
Medusa.
Is turning to stone death? Like,
I have turned into a
do you
pillar
die
of
when you
salt.
turn to stone? Like, so I need someone out there in Twitch chat. I know you guys are out there. I know you guys are probably have me muted. Let's be reasonable. No, I'm kidding. You guys are definitely listening to me. I need someone to answer that question. Like, I forget. Like, with Medusa, do they just turn to stone, or do they actually die? Are they dead people that become statues? Or are they like living but like encapsulated?
I believe they live, but they're encased in stone.
Okay. So even then, Medusa's not so repulsive that they die. So that whole flashing someone to death is really Exerst has outdone himself.
All I can remember is what was it, Dale from King of the Hill? He just whips out a thing out of his pocket and just goes pocket sand. Just throws it. Anyway, now New Era wants to get to the end of the map, and hopefully with time to spare, the big bunk composition has come in from Emergency as well. Keep an eye on Exerst and Lush. Once again, they'll be the Widowmakers in a bit of a tip this evening. Exerst already put on notice thanks to the Tracer just being an absolute pest, just as they were when we were in the similar position just before.
Pressure up top though, they're looking for kills. They need something to open up this defense. They need to find a Kraken. Lush trying to do so. It's actually gonna be Soggy to get the opener though, picking up Muni on Moira. Now Mini has been demeched. This is looking brilliant for the offense. They're able to find some things. They do drop Nanda at the back line. Mooney gets res, but Virginia has ultimately fallen. Still though, this offense, they're finding some answers to this. They're finding a window.
Yeah, well, it looks like Soggy tried to ply it open with Pulse Bomb, did not bear much fruit. Special Kid is now in the Valkyrie mode, keeping everybody topped off and being extremely agile and extremely annoying to try and deal with. There is the big dragon strike being thrown out and an arrow right to the back for Special Kid. Thank you for coming, thank you for your service. And finally, New Era have come close to breaking out of this section of Junkertown, and it looks like finally this payload will move through relatively uncontested.
Look at the ults up on this defense, though. There's a window for them to make this work. They just need to actually find a route back in, and I don't think they're going to. So first point will be conceded. They're not going to try and contest. Actually, Virginia's going out because he can.
That would be a good engage with the wrecking ball, just doing the old gyroscope, but it is not to be. Just being the bomb on the edge of the pendulum ends up going in a flat plane as opposed to up and down.
So though they burn a little bit of time. That's the name of the game there.
That's a strategy that they might end up regretting moving forward. Virginia's moved on to the Winston, so maybe not so much. Look at this aggression though from the side of New Era.
Yeah, definitely some ruthless aggression getting quite deep, and that's going to pay off for them as Lush finds the kill on the Virginia. Rez comes straight out. Now the Dragons, the twins, are coming flying through. Looking for a little bit of scenery, but they're not able to find anything magical. No kills to be found. They have started to fall away. And though it's going to be caught by Xerxes. The big McCree shot. Bomb comes up above, and it's going to catch Dawn. 2 pennies down. Xerxes farming. And this defense, it bent, but it did not break.
Looks like New Era's basically pulled the plug on that, especially after Minnie had found a victim with her self-destruct. Xerxes did end up going down to the pulse bomb, so that might be a little bit of a regret if it forces Emergency to play short-handed. It'll be a short time, but Lush has gone on to the Soldier, so a little bit of indecisiveness or just changing the composition for the different layout of this section of Junkertown. There is the couple lessons from Mooney and Special Kid in the Valkyrie mode, and this defense is just saying, yeah, you're not going to be allowed in the city, bud. Not going to happen.
Yeah, they've pushed so far back here, and Xerxes is getting some really good spam damage in. He actually managed to farm his ult, just peeking out and finding a few quick one-taps. He had, I think, 3 headshots at range. Now he's got his ulti up, but it doesn't really matter when he gets pulse bombed down by Soggy. The only one it found. He will be rezzed up, but now this fight is engaging so close to this corridor. This should favor the defense, but the bongo is already been picked up. Penny, though, will kill Xerxes.
Special Kid has actually gone down. That is a huge gap for Lush. From a Mechas made it's a little bit for the, especially with that stagger. Finally, New Era are moving second phase, and doesn't look like cycling through. Emergency will be able to contest.
I'm not sure if you're dying or if it's me dying.
Fruitful
Zero?
enough to even do so.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Saber was having some issues, but Xerxes, he gets a big 3K on the crate. 1, 2, 3, knock him down, and Mooney's gonna get another one as well. This offense, it has been stomped. When Xerxes just pops heads like that by pressing Q, that's there's not much you can do in that push. Saber, are you no longer a robot? Mr. Lutz?
Greetings.
Oh, hi.
Still Bastion.
You're fine. You're fine. You've come back to the land of the living.
I may not be. I may still be under Omnic rule. We'll have to wait and see how everything sort of pans out with Xerxes. That is a single-handed ticket to holding onto this defense, and if Xerxes is as sharp as he has been, we could actually have another Deadeye in very short order.
Oh, but the Dragons is actually going to catch out Special Kid. Diva Bomb got Ryzul, but the offense, it still finds kills. Xerxes is down there, Res Ryzul. Now I think this might actually end up, there's not a lot they can do to try and deal with it. Virginia's down now, Camor too. Nanda falls at the end, but I think this is still going to go the way of New Era. They're going to be able to move on through. And indeed they are. They keep themselves alive.
10 seconds remaining.
Move the payload.
Escorting the payload.
Because there's has killed Razul. That prompts the insta-res, so there's not that up for Dawn for a while. And now Azit trying to find any more kills. Will they be able to find anything? Emergency Esports trying to stun this out. Just trying to bleed time, and now they're not going to be able to go straight through. Those mines are up. They found some kills. The dragons fly through, but they don't find anything, and a few supports are caught very deep. And this is an absolute mulching. Razul might be staggered so heavily. This actually might kill Mini, though will in the end fall. Mini was DMAC.
Hey,
Which is a little devastating in its own right.
¿Qué onda?
Saber, you live?
So yes, so the I'm a little bit curious as to how this all panned out for the new era, especially with such little time on the clock. There is the Blade Unsheathed from Kaimor. It does not claim anything. The brother being controlled by Nanda will be the stronger one, but if these trades are going to favor the defense unless there is a high value target in amongst them. And Mini has been ejected but did end up using the self-destruct. She didn't bear much, but she basically forced the attackers to disperse. That in situation up. And Emergency just have to prevent the opposition from touching the payload, and now overtime has been forced.
New Era cannot leave this card. They leave this card, it's over. They need to keep on it. They need it to keep moving. Emergency Esports, do they have an answer? Can they stunt them? Can they knock them away? There's a lot of info being gained by Exerst on that Sombra. Jumps on the point, the hack is out! They forced them away! Someone needs to find their way back to the card. It's Penny just trying to stay in, but the kills are all going the way of Emergency, and this should be pretty much it, and in fact it is! There we go, Emergency Esports, they take Junkertown.
Dragon Strike at the end.
Play of
I know it's all good intention, but he might have missed. There might have been a mistiming there for
No one can
him to be
hide.
unable to get the touch. Because if he hadn't have cast that, he would have actually made it to the point in time and kept it alive for at least a little bit longer. Either way, that will be 2-1 for New Era, and now the side of Emergency have the choice of either Blizzard World, Agedvald, or King's Row.
I want Blizz, to be honest with you.
You're a fan of Blizzard World?
I am. Like, it might be my favorite map. I am just going to quickly give you an update on the other map as well. Last I left you off, Devious pushed almost second checkpoint on Rialto. And then we were waiting for Kraken's attack push. Ball Kraken, they succeeded. They weren't thwarted by the devious players. And Kraken pulled that out. So they're up 3-0 in that series. So this one's definitely been the closer of the two. And we're just waiting to hear what the fourth map on that one's going to be as we wait for the fourth map here.
You mentioned that Blizzard World is your favorite map of the three. New Era does get the power of choice for this one. Emergency definitely had to scratch a claw for that one, but it was worth it, especially because the only reason they got to the third point was through OT anyway. But
So I love our photos that we have on the on-stream graphics for everything. I feel like they're great for most maps. The only map I don't like our graphic for is yeah, I feel like you could go with a better one for Watchpoint Gibraltar, maybe.
I don't know.
It's a spawn room, but I feel like there's the iconic views. Like there's I don't know. I'm being picky.
Where else would you go though?
Literally just outside that door.
Really? I don't know about that. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think like that the first one actually looks all that good in terms of being in terms of using that. I think I think like
Inside on second?
No,
or inside on first?
No, not that.
This-
No, you wouldn't use the
You
hangar.
You could totally use the spaceship in the hangar.
No, I don't think so. I'd say.
How many maps have the giant spaceship hanging from the roof? It's awesome.
Now entering
Doesn't no, it's a tire in Horizon Lunar Colony that hangs from the ceiling.
Yeah. So you just have the giant spaceship. I think that's brilliant.
Initiating
I don't know.
match.
This is why they don't have me pick things like that, Cyber Waste. This is why, like, the smarter people,
This is why people that take like things like photography and graphic design focus on these things.
Wait, do we have people that do that? Damn, that's cool. No one tells me what people do. I just see, like, oh,
I was trained in graphic design for 10 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's actually dope.
No, not when you turn into a jaded person because of clientele and editors and things like that. But
Speaking
that's
of
just
jaded, Kraken hold Devious, what might be a jaded Devious at this point. Before checkpoint 2 here on Kings Row, so that's where they went, that's where we went. So just before point 2
Does it
is
have a-
where...
Does that one actually have a meter total? Because I want to try to guess what it is.
I can ask the admin if I can get a meter total.
Because I want to try to guess. If you say it was only 1 point, right? I'd say it was either under the arch or just before the foundry. Because that seems to be the two places where an attack just sort of gets stunted if they end up getting first. They're like, gates are down. 4th map of this set. And if we get a winner...
The only response I got from our admin was not close enough. I don't know if that helps.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct. So, if New Era wins this map, we will go to Ilios. It's a good thing of note. I'd say that they could definitely do that, despite attacking first. They can basically control their own destiny in the opening gambit. With Ryzul going down, the defense is holding a little bit strong for now, and the fight's been pulled down to ground level, and Petty's basically disassembled Virginia thanks to the hammer. And New Era is slowly falling apart. Exerce tried to use the Deadeye, was not too much avail. Lushard ran him clean over. And it looks like this first point has been commandeered, and Minnie's, oh, she just got staggered just as she was able to call the mech down.
Yeah, that is an undisputed push. The Undisputed Era has raised their flag. They're ready to shock the system. They've got the hand signals and everything. And we'll see if they can continue to roll forth. That Shatter does get blocked out. It is nicely done by Virginia. A lot of ground's being gained already by New Era.
A lot of the Streets phase has been basically bypassed. There is the big Graviton Surge, a lot of damage laid down. Minnie ejected and her mech has been turned to scrap, and it looks like this fight was over before it even began. Basically, New Era just turned into a tank, and they are crushing everything in their path.
Hey, Cyber Waste, I'm gonna go take 5 minutes. I'm gonna make a quick Macca's run. Maybe get some water, meet you back on our tiebreaker map, because, oh my god, this push is phenomenal. Emergency Esports, their defense, they just don't have an answer right now.
No. That's actually starting a question that I'll ask you after the cast. There is a self-destruct that went out, did not spare much fruit. Penny has gotten rid of Kaimon. That is a big get, because that Brigida is a big part of the team actually standing. Sound barriers went out in stereo, did not bear all that much. Shadow comes out from Virginia, but the only person to go down is the person that laid down the hammer. Minnie actually claimed a big get in Soggy as the Brigida. So Emergency might be able to stabilize, but not if Slim Jim has anything to say about it.
Oh, that Graviton is gonna make it a mulching! As everybody's dead. Spawns come up, so we don't get the lovely bell. We don't get, feelings that the Undertaker's gonna show up. We don't. We just notice everyone's dead.
Yep. And they're no longer dead men walking. Sleeping a Slim Jim? That was a long one. Big self-destruct did get thrown out for us. The opposition to disperse did not actually frag anyone, but didn't assist the Penny, I'm sure. So this attack is actually might be able to stabilize with even a tank going down, and with Don all following him in turn. It looks like Emergency can finally set up Clinic and help themselves to basically a little bit of stability.
Virginia, though, suiciding or something. I didn't see how he died. He just died.
He went down to
Good job, Tom.
something like that.
I'm assuming. But that is a big pick right now with advantage for the offense. They're allowed to move forward quite a bit more heavily. Virginia is back on the field, but there has been control wrenched of the payload. And they've got a Lucio way in the back. That special kid will finally fall to Dawn. Now Zach, double Graviton is out on the field. Who's going to win the duels? The Graviton itself killed Soggy. It's also a rarity.
It does tick, but usually you'd see healing through that. Was not the case, and it looks like Minnie's just thrown a Hail Mary self-destruct, didn't do much, but I think shattered the shield of the attacking Reinhardt being Penny. But Penny's still running around trying to put the hammer down the special kid. Self-destruct as well from Slip Chip, didn't really get anything at all. And well, this fight is being elongated. You slightly give it to the defenders, but it's not through a lack of trying. New Era are trying to finish out this map outright.
Pressure is coming in all around, and there is the boosted up Virginia getting deep. Has farmed quite heavily towards the hammer, but he's not quite there yet. Graviton comes in, Meteor Strike coming in above as well, but it finds only Timor. And now finally Mini, Virginia, Minis, Mech, Exert, Special Kid, Mooney, they all fall. It's just Kymor, but ring the bell. The team kill comes through. Wrecking Ball trying to make its way to the point. I don't think it's going to get to it. Will not. And there is the cap through.
I don't think Kymor would have even touched it anyway, but I think he got, when he went to do the pile driver move, he'd hung in the air for just a little bit too long to prevent the recontest. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but either way, that is 3 on the board for the side of the red. They end up with 2 minutes and 33. And now, can they match it on the blue side?
Kraken win Kings Row 2-1, take series 4-0.
Broom.
So
can someone just Photoshop like a Kraken holding a giant broom or something like that?
that's too bad, because Devious, they have a pretty dope logo. Number one reason to care about a team, their logo is cool.
I mean, that's why I was a Dignitas fan for years before they changed it. I'm still bitter by that. Either way, that's not relevant right now because, well, they're not here. And two teams that are here are New Era and a decent time bank, all things considered. Emergency did try to defend in the Foundry a little bit, but those first 2 points were essentially all New Era. Emergency had nothing.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, the time starts to tick down, ready to go. We are live now into the second half of what is potentially our final map. Won't be our final map if they aren't able to cap through Emergency. If that happens, we're going to be tied 2-2, going to our tiebreaker. So we need to see what they have.
All the defenders actually gathered in the hotel, did not really get as much as they probably would have liked, but New Era starting off extremely strong. Exerts and Virginia are out of commission, and if you take 2 tanks off the table, that is pretty much a push done. Emergency have called off the plans and have to basically start from square one again.
Will they be able to walk on through? They're trying to find an answer. Usually it takes a few cracks at this first point. It's not often you see it capped instantly, I find at least not in Australia. So they are trying to find their way through. Virginia's getting a lot of pressure in early. Hammer though is up and it catches a lot of people. Penny absolutely pounding. And that has resulted in many a kill coming through for New Era. They're holding strong, holding quite nicely.
Well, if New Era wanted to get a new name, they could call themselves the Carolina Panzers, because they're just going to keep pounding and running down whatever is in their way. They did it on the attack. Looks like that's exactly what they're doing on the defense. They've put up the bunker, and it'll be up to the side of emergency to breach. They haven't been successful in doing that yet, but with Special Kid in tow, they might be able to do so. But with everybody eating up the Graviton Surge, and Slip Jip throwing out the self-destruct, ends up claiming Special Kid, and well, for a couple of ults, the bell will sound, and New Era just they've put up the reinforced wall, another wall that's made of steel, another wall that's made out of adamantium, and Emergency have had no rebuttal. But with Commodore calling the rally, this could be their time.
Yeah, they're trying to find a way through, trying to find any entrance onto this point that they can, but the pressure, it might be too heavy. There is the Graviton coming out, though. Transcendence coming out to counter it, and Virginia and Kymore both fall. Emergency Esports, they need to find some kills, but instead they're trying to retreat. Exerce is down, Mooney too, and Mini is D-Mac. This is devastating. It's a huge blow to their chances in this map. To be honest, everyone, keep in mind what we have left here. We've got a minute 20 left on the clock. If they're not able to cap through, we're going to a tiebreaker final map.
Yeah, it feels like so long ago we actually had a controlled map, which was Oasis, which was actually taken by Emergency to start off our set. We're down into the final minute. Rally has been called out by Soggy. A big self-destruct comes out from Mini. She doesn't get anything, sadly. Looks like the sound barrier had actually gotten stunned out of from Special Kids. That was a huge blow from the New Era squad. Big Earth Shadow from Virginia did lay a couple down on their backs, and this is actually the biggest window for Emergency to actually get into this point proper. We're down into under 30 seconds, Mr. Morrison, and Emergency really have to keep the gauze on the wound to stem the bleeding.
And they've actually done so. They found a few more kills. They've managed to get the first tick of this capped up. They should be able to get another one. There might be a last-ditch effort, but I think they have bought themselves a little bit more time. We're not quite going to Elios, but this is not going to be easy, Mr. Lutz, at all. They've got 2.5 minutes to try and go the distance. I don't really like their odds in that one, but I have been surprised many a time before. Can they pull this off? Can they keep their incredible last-ditch effort working, or will they falter?
Virginia's brought down to just below half health. It'll be up to Mooney to help to stem the bleeding. Big Graviton surge. Mini! She runs the show, and put up your boots and salute that one. That is a 3K. Virginia's there with the cleanup with the giant hammer, and well, Mini showing that she is a force to truly be reckoned with, especially with that mech by her side.
He's gonna give a quick shout out to my boy Connor here in Victoria. He's still awake at 2:30 a.m. of course, as you know, every good Canadian is. I don't actually know about that, but he is still awake. He's tuned in, and just gonna give a shout out to him for supporting me.
Thank you to the people outside of Australia actually supporting Australian Overwatch. We appreciate your viewership. And Commodore has actually called out the rally, and there is the Graviton Surge being thrown out by Lush and the rally and Sarah from Soggy. Earthshadow was, I believe, blocked by the shield. No, Lush did get laid out in his back, and there is the convalescence from Mooney, keeping everybody topped up and putting everybody down. Mooney's been ejected from a mech slip chip and blown Mooney and forced them to eat Fallout, and Minnie is looking to be staggered again if she is not careful. She's either going to have to stay still or just go through the bed of spikes of the opposition, and she's just going to have to go into the loving embrace of the respawn timer. We're running into under 40 seconds now, Mr. Morrison.
They need to find something. There needs to be a last gasp from Emergency Esports. Time is not their friend. It is very much the enemy. And can they beat the clock? They don't have to go that much further. There's just a wee bit of distance to go. Now they are on the point. That is the first part of the battle. They're there. Now they need to start finding some picks. They need to find an entrance. They have a couple ults to use, but so does the defense. Will they find anything? Is there a chance for them to do this? Graviton though, that got eaten. Mini with the huge eat. That is absolutely massive. Yes, the Shatter's down, but now the kills, they're still going the way of the defense. Soggy and Lush find a pair. They're on the point. Diva Bomb is off. It's coming down to the wire here, Mr. Lutz. Is there anything that can be found? I don't think so. They're knocked away. They're knocked off this point. There's only a couple left alive, and this will be a Stonewall. New Era, force it out. We are going to Helios.
New Era said, "Nah, this dark and dreary place at King's Row, this is not my style. I want to go to the sunshine. I want to drip myself in the sea salt in the air, and I want to go to Helios." And they get their wish of a blazing attack and basically a watertight defense. Even though they did end up conceding the first point, that opening point was a masterclass in basically locking down opening point at King's Row.
You know what, Cyber Waste? If there was one thing I could ask for as I sat here. Map 1, yeah, it was pretty good. Map 2, yeah, it was really good. Map 3, okay, it was a total banger. Map 4, absolute banger. And what happens when you have 4 maps that are just absolutely top-notch Overwatch? What is the one thing that you want?
We don't need 4, man, we need 5! That's exactly what we are going to get. Yes, sir! We're going to Helios to decide it all. And, well, Emergency and New Era should both give themselves a pat on the back and take a bow. They have all put on an absolute show for the people watching in internet land. And, well, it's been an absolute honor and privilege, Mr. Morrison. I'm pretty sure you share the sentiment to actually call this game from bell to bell.
Yeah, it's just... What more can you ask for than just high-tier Overwatch? I mean, especially hearing that the game off stream was like a 4-0, I'm glad, like, of the two, I'm glad we got this one. Because, oh dear lord, we have to go to a tiebreaker. We have to go to Helios. And it's everything I could possibly want.
You and me both.
Sleep is overrated. It's only 2:30 a.m. It's not like I'm here till 4:30. I'd do it anyways, though, if the Overwatch was this good.
I honestly could not blame you in the slightest, and man, it's been a absolute treat to call a game like this. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to sleep because of all the hype in your system. You're gonna have to figure out a way to sort of exude yourself from.
Fun joys of having to work at 9:45 tomorrow. Ooh.
Oh boy.
You know, it is what it is. Overwatch is love, Overwatch is life. Casting is love, casting is life.
Yep, indeed. I like saying the words for the masses, especially when video games accompanying them. The readies have been called. GLHF, the 4 letters that will be the introduction to our final map of this 5 map set now, between Emergency and New Era. We're on the well to open. Whoa, that will be a really interesting battleground to start off on, especially because you have a little thing called the Pit of Doom on the point. Well, that's why they call it well, because there is a giant well in there, and if you're not careful, you will be down into the black abyss.
So I've never actually taken the time in Spectate to actually just drop into the pit. I don't know if you've done it, Cyberwars. Man, it's like actually terrifying, the sounds that are down there. Like, I encourage you.
I'm doing that right now, actually, until the hero mode is actually active, and it's oddly haunting when you go that low.
Yeah, that is just, again, there's one thing that Blizzard has done so well, which is just how thorough some of these maps are, the lore in this game, and just like the attention to detail on little things, like having terrifying like angry soul sounds in the bottom of a pit. Like, come on, who thinks of that? That's genius. I love it.
Who will be the sole survivor? of this basically it's 3 points on tap, 2 points to a win, and 3 map wins for a series. And this will be what decides it all. Keep an eye on Mooney and the right hand of Special Kid. They'll have a lot to chew through, but Exerce was looking to be the person on the ground just putting the hit scan damage on display, but New Era are having none of it, sticking to what they know, and well, Goats actually have extremely hard heads and have just decided to headbutt the attack of Emergency and claim the first portion of Well.
Well, now there is Virginia just trying to put a little bit of pressure through, but that opening cap is so huge for New Era. It allows them to continue through with their momentum a little bit, but Exerce gets a lovely headshot there onto Rizul. That drops the Zenyatta off the field for the time being. He gets another one onto Soggy. He is single-handedly shredding this Goats comp. Now Zephyr is there as well, finding a kill. There is D-Mech at a third for Exerce, and make it a fourth. Why not? Have yourself a push, Exerce. That was absolutely beautiful. They managed to re-grab control. They only bled 30% off the clock. Not a bad comeback.
I believe that would deserve a cap tip for Mr. Exerce, and he actually has the Deadeye at the ready. Even if it doesn't bag any frags as a result of it, just the threat of it when he says it's high noon, you hear the whistle. That's just going to cause the entire attack to disperse, especially if he digs any of the heavy hitters, especially Penny. Penny board extremely low through a less than pixel gap towards the entrance. That is the EMP claim 4. It'll be up to the rest of Emergency to try and clean up and keep the attackers to keep the red side in check. And well, Emergency are going to keep getting percentage, basically uncontested. This is going to be extremely rough for New Era to try and breach.
Yeah, they are pressing so very far forward as well, getting a lot of early chip damage in, and that's also allowing Mooney to come up a little bit closer on that ulti. The barrage is at 60%, and Lush now on McCree. Okay, down goes Tracer, down goes Mercy. What more can you ask? He is doing everything at a range, but he will fall. Deadeye doesn't even find anything. Pulse Bomb comes through, and now the re-push from New Era. It's so strong. There's a lot of ultis on the field that they can use here, but it doesn't seem to matter. They don't seem to need them. They're finding these kills despite having 5 in the bank. That will allow them to flip it, start climbing back up to the top.
Actually, it's really curious that Virginia has decided to stick with the Wrecking Ball, just be extremely mobile, and just pile on the damage to shoot through these tanks. Flipchip has used the self-destruct and actually was able to remake despite Virginia pile driving on top of the Mecha Pilot. And it looks like the feed is all shades of red for New Era, and they will actually take the lead in accrued percentage. And, well, you are looking at a potential 2-fight finish.
So, I get that Virginia is a Miley Cyrus fan here, really wants to come in like a wrecking ball, but I'm not sure it's the right pick in this spot. He may make me eat my words, but he's being countered a little heavily, and I think this might be to his own detriment. We'll see though, 87% is up on the side of New Era, starting to climb, and Exerce has another big opening pick on to the Tracer. Soggy's down, Exerce in trouble though. Down he falls. Slipchip will find that one. Muni kills himself, and Virginia finds one, but the kills are still going the way of New Era mostly. Rez comes out on the field, sure, but the kills, they're not finding anything. New Era, they're still doing it. Lush with another. Good damage done. I don't think anyone's left alive. It's just Minnie, and she will fall. There we go. That will do it for the first segment of this final map, our tiebreaker. So now all that's needed, New Era needs to take the next segment. They win. Emergency, they take the next one. They force our third and final segment. So we are genuinely coming down to the wire.
Where do we go next? We're going to the ruins. Do we see the Widow Duel resume between Exerce and Lush that we saw on Junkertown? I'd love to see a redux, but looking at how much the Sombra has played a part in how New Era has played for a few of their pushes, that might not end up happening, just more for the sake of consistency as a composition.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd argue that it was Lush's Sombra that won them Paris. Very high impact. Both of these DPS players definitely working themselves into our post-game MVP candidate, depending on who pulls this out. So it is going to come down to the wire. We'll see. It's the Sombra versus Widow, Exerst versus Lush. Who comes out on top? Who can power their team to victory? They both need to have such high impact. And Exerst, he's got the opener on the Soggy. That's a great start here on the Widow. But there are shields to try and counter him. This could be a little bit more difficult to work with, especially since he and Mooney are being bombed quite heavily. But Virginia now finding Rizul. These tanks are jumping right into the supports, and that's going to allow more kills to come through. Exerst hitting another shot on the Penny. And this will be the cap going emergency esports way.
And Zephyr was basically just being an absolute nuisance as the big giant mech. And actually, I just noticed it. Minnie has had to basically reach into a pocket, go through a different run through of heroes because of Zephyr being on the Diva. She was the Tracer at the previous point. Now she's playing the Lucio, really trying to flex some muscles, and I could really respect that. As New Era have gathered up and are wanting to spill out towards the point.
Rizul though will find the opening kill onto Muni. Hanzo down. Chimes in by demeching the rival Diva. Bomb comes in, does a ton of damage. I actually thought that was going to kill Lush. Didn't manage to. Muni gets a revive. Slip Chip is gonna fall in the end. Still looking a little solid for emergency. Got the kill on to Virginia, but with Exerst still hitting these shots, not sure. There is a recap coming in here for New Era. Dragon's out on the field as well, trying to find anything, but it looks like maybe there's a cap. There is a lot of pressure towards it. I think this is gonna come down to the next set of kills. Mini falling is a massive, and I think we will see New Era get on the board.
All it'll be is just playing the clock now. Virginia just jumping around and trying to get it as high as possible. 66 is where that initial capture percentage will cease, and now it is New Era's turn to be on the progressive side of the score sheet. Looking at the ultimates for emergency, they may actually just cop this one on the chin, unless Minnie decides she warrants the push worth it and uses the sound barrier. Wait and see.
Oh, Exerst again. He's hitting everything. Finds a kill onto the Brigida. That's Soggy down. Rizul is going to fall to Mini. And both supports being down is an absolutely substantially massive set of kills. Unless she's going to fall at the end. And I think Emergency should have no issues coming right back through here.
Oh, goodness no. That opening frag on the Soggy. Even any person that's playing Brigida is a high value target. But if you've got someone who's been as consistent this evening as Soggy has been on the heroes that they have played, that's a huge get. And as soon as he fell, that was basically Emergency's ticket in. And looking at the ultimate, this could actually be a hold and a deciding point, depending on how this all pans out. You have the primal self-destruct, and you have the actual dragon strike too.
Yeah, we have one fight. One fight here to try and do it, and there's a big, huge anti. It's not able to find any sets of kills, though, off the back of it. Bombs in the sky. Primal Rage finds a kill under support. Soggy's down as well. So again, the Zenyatta and Brigida are falling for this defense. Lex goes down now as well. This should be easy cleanup for Emergency Esports. And in fact, it will. It's just the Lucio. He falls. I think ring the bell. Okay, they're not going to ring the team kill bell, but it doesn't matter. We're going to the final segment here on Ilios to decide it. We are going all the way.
Yes, sir. And we are going to the Lighthouse to conclude extremely tight. This is basically the polar opposite of the Ruins phase that we were just on, because if you look at where the point is actually situated, it is about as close quarters as you could have asked for. And looking at the heroes that were on deck, it's going to be extremely interesting as to what compositions they choose to use, because there's two different ways you can go about this. You can play this extremely close and be hunkering in on the point, or you basically hold outside with much longer range. It looks like Exerst has decided to give McCree another spin.
Rightfully so. He's been absolutely on fire with it. Both his hit scans have been popping off to it, a level that really hasn't been quite matched in this game. Lush just hasn't been a worthy adversary, sure, but I think Exerst is on almost another level right now, and this McCree needs to go absolutely insane to pull it out. Huge picks are definitely available there, and he's coming around the corner, might actually get something in behind, putting on a lot of pressure, but he is going to find the kill on the Soggy. What a shot that was! Mooney's got Rise Duel 2. 2 huge picks, and should allow Emergency to get the first cap out of this in the end.
Yeah, they're definitely going to set up a makeshift decontamination zone in amongst the point, and basically look for New Era to come to them. They're the zombies. They have to come in and breach the defense of Emergency, and well, Exerst is going to be an absolute pain holding these long lines. Same with Mooney too, as the Hanzo, especially with the Storm Bow, who's proven to be quite formidable in the past, and Special Kid has the nano boost and the Dragon Strike on Mooney as well. Curious to see how those will be used in the near future.
Soggy's got to be a little bit mad too, because there was just kind of a spam arrow that wound up headshotting me. Turned a corner and it was just one that was being pre-fired by the Hanzo, and it's just like, oh, I guess I'm dead now. That's fun. Thank you. Deadeye comes out here trying to find what it can. Not going to find anything, forces him away. And oh, Lush barely escapes with his life. That was very close. Exerst hit the flashbang. They almost had the cleanup. Now with the boost on to the Winston, they need to find something, but they're not able to. So the pulse bomb in the back line. Soggy gets Special Kid and Exerst. And that might be a window for New Era to come in. It's already 65% here for Emergency and climbing. They need to find some more kills on the backs of it, and they just haven't done so yet.
They basically have a part of the way in. They've slightly opened the window. They need to open it a little bit more, but the track's a little bit jammed to actually pull the window through. There's a sound barrier from Minnie. She's trying to keep the team alive and into this point, but Dawn has basically made Zephyr's mech boot. And well, now Emergency's work is done. They are stuck at 84, and now New Era have possession of the actual lighthouse, and it'll be up to Emergency to breach.
Is there a breach they can find? Is there a route in? There's very forward contention. They might actually be able to catch some players out here, though. Great bubble by the Winston. Trying to find some space for them. And Moody, he's got that shot onto left. That's a big player off the field. The team is going to be D-Mech. That's Slip Jip as well. There's a window here. They have dropped both Virginia and Muni. And now Special Kid will fall. Penny and Soggy. So much work in that back line. And look at the ultis up here as well.
My ultimate is charging.
Well, that's what happens when you're a big angry ape with a bunch of opposition in a tiny, tiny space. It's going to hurt. It is going to hurt a lot. And that was Penny putting on a absolute display. And it looks like Emergency have really packed it tight again. This could be a very similar run for Emergency, but Exerst just got cut in half by Soggy and the Genji. So if you're New Era, you'd be extremely happy with the way things are going now, and you basically say you don't need to use any ults, don't do anything. So the more things that can be held onto, the better.
Yeah, but we're also gonna turn around and have like an absolute cluster of ultis being popped at the same time. There's 10 on the field right now, Mr. Lutz. And we're coming down to the point. We're tied at 16% away from finishing this out. All these ultras are going to come out momentarily, and here they are. They're all on the field, but it's going to be Virginia. He's got the big kick on the Slip Chip. Flush falls too. Getting on the other side will quickly get picked, but Virginia's doing work. Soggy, he's coming back around. He's found some kills. They need to find anything. They're on the point, trying to delay. 99%. This is for the series, but there will be the cap back from Emergency Esports. They pulled it around 90%, 91%. It's climbing. They're getting there, Cyberways. They're so very close. Is anything going to be able to get back in here? They're trying to the wire. Lush gets on.
This is going to be the overtime to end it all. Minnie has claimed a victim in the form of Lush. She's going to be happy with that. A big anti-nade to prevent the healing from Special Kid to be all that effective. And now the Primal Rage being the last match from Penny. Special Kid's been flung into the seas down below, but that might be all is able to muster. Big sticky bomb onto Penny. Penny is now down, and now it is only going in single file. The Hammer of Lush has been pulled away and batted away like a ball and a bomb on the end of a pendulum. Still trying to get a touch, trying to get around, but the Lucio was unable to do so. Emergency saying all is well, quarantine is lifted, the series is ours.
Oh my god, that ending was absolutely brilliant. This entire series, we come down to a 99 to 100 to end this out. These two teams, they could not have been closer at the end. But in the end, it is Emergency Esports knocking off the new kids on the block. New era. They show up and they try. They put in such a valiant effort. This is a team that was a replacement. We had a team die. They're coming in trying to fill things back out. They're playing a bunch of games trying to catch up. This was their first. And oh my, are they a good team? That's for sure.
Oh, indeed. I'm gonna need to lie down after that. I'm pretty sure you do too. I don't know if you'll even get there. You'll be too hyped. Either way,
So-
with that long tome out of the way, Graham, I give you an arduous task. We have to choose an MVP for the series. What say you?
So there is. I've been thinking about this because every time I cast with you, we do it to each other. We try and torture each other. I try and keep one in mind. Pay attention what's going on. Who's my MVP by map? What am I thinking? Where's it gonna go when we come down to the finish line? So I'm gonna start with new era players because they lost. My rule on MVP is everyone who has heard me do this multiple times before can't win MVP if you lose. That's just my kind of
And that's such a shame because, in my opinion, I'd say if we were able to do that, I'd say Penny would be my choice. If we,
I actually had Penny as probably my choice for them. I was also going to give a big shout out to both Lush and Soggy on DPS, specifically Lush, because Lush, in my opinion, won new era Paris. That Sombra play, the Sombra the entire series, but specifically that Sombra play on Paris won them that map. So that was where I was going to go for new era. Emergency, some big players stepped up with some brilliant plays. Virginia was so very strong by the tail end of it. But to me, the answer is very clear. You know, there's a can emote out there in Twitch chat. Spam it. Quench your thirst. MVP is Exerst.
I can't really dispute that, but that is not to say that it was a one person show for Emergency. Not at all. It was a huge effort. Like you mentioned, Virginia was being an absolute, just being a masterclass at both Winston and being the Hammond in situations that called for it. Even Minnie was stepping up as well when she had to basically relinquish her mech to another member of the team when there was a substitution. She showed her diversity, which I personally haven't really seen in great detail. So a really good game from her as well. But I would definitely be in agreement with you there that Exerst has been the standout. Only just though for the team of Emergency in an absolute belter of a set.
Well, I think, Mr. Lutz, that's everything I've got to say. I don't know about you, but do tune in, everybody, next Sunday, 7 p.m. AEDT for more Rise Up. I'm not sure if it's going to be me and you again. I'm hoping we'll get one of the two games, because that would be my last week, possible.
Before you go to Copenhagen Games.
Yeah, so I'm casting the Women's Counter-Strike Tournament at Copenhagen Games. I'm going a little bit early just to have some time in Europe because I don't get to do that often. So if we don't cast next week, this will have been my last week. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Rise Up is fantastic. I love doing it, and I'm glad that they had me back for another event. If not, I'll say some more emotional stuff next week. I'm hoping we're doing it. If not, though, my name has been Graham Morrison. You can follow me on Twitter, GrahamCast. Joined by Justin Cyberwaste Loot. Follow him at I am Cyberwaste. Follow Zero Aim at Zero Aim, where the O in zero is an actual zero. Follow us all here at AO Esports on Twitter. Follow the channel to get notifications when we go live. But most importantly, everybody, have a great evening, drive safe, and be the best hero you can be.